as a gourmet. He may have a pretty physical battle here in Kitchen Stadium today by matching Iron Chefs Wolfgang Puck and Mataharu Morimoto in battle eggs. We've seen Morimoto working hard to get into those very tough ostrich eggs. He's burned off some calories creating a noodle batter, while Chef Puck is pounding away, chopping away, and getting some duck egg crepes together that are filled with a porcini mushroom and truffle puree. And the action continues.
A little more truffles, Lee. Don't be so cheap. A little more, no?
Now, these two fine fellows share more than their varied accents, both on and off the plate, might lead us to believe, and that leads me to believe, that our judges are going to be facing a very tough call today. Now, to get to know our judges, let's go up to Kevin Brosh.
Thanks, Alton. You know, if an Iron Chef court could ever get out of order, it may be this one tonight. First up, he played the late, great Salvatore Bonpensiero on The Sopranos. Respect must be paid to Vincent Pastore. Next, she is the vivacious host of Trading Spaces, a woman who makes a mean matzo ball soup, Paige Davis. And finally, the witty and wise food columnist for Vogue magazine. He's the funny and fastidious Jeffrey Steingarten.
Thanks very much. Morimoto is fishing out those fresh noodles that he made. Very interestingly, off of the back of that sheet pan, having blanched them, they're going into some ice water to cool down.
I'm gonna add a little rice wine vinegar.
It looks like Wolfgang Puck is working on an egg drop soup. Having given that pasta dough time to hydrate, Wolfgang Puck is preparing to do some rolling, I understand. But first, he's going to do a little potato carving, a little spud carving. Well, joining me here in my little station in Kitchen Stadium is a man who's done a lot of egg cracking himself. Iron Chef Mario Batali, honor to have you here.
Great to be here. Very excited.
What are you seeing and what are you thinking are going on in the heads of these guys?
Well, they're two masters at their crafts. They're definitely nervous. They're definitely excited about it. It's hard to figure out exactly what Morimoto's going over there with those crazy noodles. They look absolutely
Now, is that a procedure you're familiar with?
Well, I've only read
a batter on the back of the pan?
It just looks so dramatic. It's got to be stunning. Wolf's made some kind of a strange little crepe thing that he rolled up. I'm guessing he's going to steam it. Maybe carve it or something. But they're both highly aware of the tension going on right now. And it's certainly exciting to be there.
They're both using techniques that they're known for.
Yes.
And one of the things that I'm noticing and certainly appreciating here is the level of manual proficiency that these guys have as technicians is really stunning. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing to watch.
Well, there's no question that these guys are actually cooks who actually cook, not executive chefs who sit around at the golf course or hang out a lot.
Playing golf and getting on big jet planes.
Exactly.
They're actually cooking every day of the week.
Masters of their stuff. They're really excellent.
So now the fact that Wolfgang Puck has his pastry chef with him, Sherry Yard, who is very renowned in this country as a pastry chef, does it give him an edge?
Well, I'm guessing they may even go for more than one dessert. She is a renowned chef as well as a pastry chef.
Of course.
Someone who can bring a lot to the table, so he's certainly brought out the big guns too.
Well, let's get back to the action then, shall we?
Alton.
Kevin, go.
We have that square Japanese omelet pan going. Iron Chef Morimoto has added some soup stock to that to thin it out. And we have Kobe beef making its entrance into Kitchen Stadium. His sous chef Enuma has pulled that out, but we're not sure what they're using it for.
Now, you should know that Kobe beef, for those who may not have seen it or tasted it, is a very, very different kind of critter than what we have as beef here in the United States. The animals are fed sake and beer, and they're massaged every day and treated like kings so that they get a very, very heavy dose of intramuscular fat. That is fat that's actually down inside the meat. Because of that, it is literally like butter. Now, watch this procedure. The way that you work a Japanese omelet, if you're capable of doing so, is strictly with your chopsticks. And from the look on his face, he's not really happy with the way his chopsticks worked on that one. Very, very, very thin omelet. It's a difficult procedure. Over on Wolfgang Puck's side, Sherry Yard is working a mixture in a double boiler. Looks like it could be a curd. It could be just a stirred mustard of some type, stirred custard of some type. Fresh water chestnuts and well, it looks like chanterelle mushrooms being prepared by Wolfgang Puck to go into his soup. That's an interesting combination of flavors. Of course, those mushrooms are very, very earthy with a bit of sweetness, and they're very aromatic. And fresh water chestnut is, well, something we don't see in this country very often. We usually see canned. Used more often for texture than anything else. Okay, looking at the action over here in the pastry side of Wolfgang Puck's kitchen, I'm thinking that this is going to turn into an ice cream base. Sherry Yard is adjusting the flavor. She's adding Meyer lemon juice, and she's also adding some sugar, whisking that down. It's definitely a custard. Just what the application is going to be, we'll have to see. If she is going to turn that into ice cream, she needs to put the spurs to it, because although we've got state-of-the-art ice cream makers here in Kitchen Stadium, we're staring down at only about 34 minutes left in the competition. That is what she's doing, going right into the machine. Wolfgang Puck has put the rolling attachment on his mixer and is rolling out his pasta dough quite thin. It's a beautiful dough.
Very nice.
We've got a blowtorch out on Morimoto's side. Perfect accompaniment to the hacksaw that we saw earlier. Warming up some custard cups that are going into a very, very large steamer. So they're definitely going to be doing a steamed custard over on the Japanese side. The look on Morimoto's face seems a bit calmer than it was a few minutes ago. He's up to another procedure, spreading out a towel. He asked for a lot of towels onto a sheet pan. We'll have to see what he's going to do with that. He's got a very, very large piece of tuna. A large tuna loin, an entire tuna loin. And he's going to cut out what is called the bloodline, the dark piece of material that runs through the back side of that loin. And he's going to remove that, and he's discarding that, which is very, very common. It's very, very strongly flavored. Most chefs in Asian kitchens don't use it. And you can see that left just clean, beautiful meat. Taking that loin right off of the skin. It'll be interesting to see if he uses that. Nope, he's getting rid of it. That is absolutely beautiful, beautiful tuna. I don't know by looking at it what kind of tuna it is. It could be a really large yellowfin or a very small bluefin. What do you think?
This is a big eye tuna.
That's big eye.
Yeah.
Okay, big eye tuna.
The bluefin tuna too.
Certainly common in Japanese cuisine. We were trying to guess here. Really not much of a way of looking at it. You'd really have to see that fish whole to make that determination. I think he's going to cut this sashimi style. Let's check in over on Wolfgang Puck's side. Sherry Yard is filling molds with a meringue. So she has beat egg whites with some sugar and made a meringue out of that she's going to apparently bake.
30 minutes have elapsed.
So she's going to do some kind of a baked meringue, which can be a relatively tricky procedure, especially when you've only got 30 minutes left, because not only do meringues have to be baked, but they usually need to be dried after that. We'll see. She's working very, very quickly.
30 minutes left. Iron Chef Morimoto, can you give your team some encouragement?
Yeah.
The blow-by-blow battle continues on Iron Chef America Battle of the Masters.
Welcome back to Kitchen Stadium. I'm Alton Brown. Our American Gourmet Academy chairman loves a good battle, and he's put together a tasty one today. It's Battle Egg. Iron Chef Wolfgang Puck has already got duck egg crepes, egg pasta, custard in the works, and his team is hustling on some meringue. Not sure where his entire menu is going just yet. And Chef Morimoto's menu may be even more of a mystery. He's got ostrich egg noodles on the way, delicate Japanese omelets completed, and now he's pulled out some beautiful Kobe beef and an exquisite hunk of big eye tuna. Kevin, Chef Puck seems unbelievably focused and unfazed by this, his first trip to Kitchen Stadium.
Any pressure yet? You're looking very calm and cool for your first time in Kitchen Stadium, Wolfgang.
Yeah, well, we'll get there at the last 5 minutes.
5 minutes is when it all comes together?
That's just like basketball. It's the last 5 minutes.
Like basketball, exactly. Now, does cooking for so many people at the Oscars, does that help with the pressure here in Kitchen Stadium?
No.
No?
No, you have all these experienced guys here like Morimoto, so that's a hard thing.
And now one of Morimoto's sous chefs has brought out an even more fish. Looks like a red snapper. Fish and eggs seems to be a theme emerging in the Morimoto camp. Chef Puck is now cutting his egg pasta into small rounds. I suspect these will end up as ravioli.
Sherry Yard is getting her ice cream out of the churn at her end of the station. Of course, it may have gotten to the consistency she wants, maybe not. She's smoothing it out. I think she's happy with it. She's probably going to harden this now. She may utilize that blast freezer that she has over there. And that's exactly where it's going. That blast freezer is blowing air at about 20 degrees below zero. This is not your average household freezer, so she'll have a very hard product very quickly. She's got a mighty frosty bowl over there as well.
Noise.
Wolfgang just made a bit of a mess, but he's smiling, so it can't be that bad.
Okay, sashimi fans, Morimoto has pulled out some toro. That's the fatty tuna belly that has a very buttery texture.
And he's got a really large, looks like a scallop out. Let's see how he's going to treat that. Yes, and he's removing the adductor from that scallop. So that's actually, you don't see that very often. Usually when we buy scallops in our markets, we just see that one singular muscle that holds that shell together. And the reason it's so big in a scallop is that they actually use them for locomotion. They clap their shells together like castanets and scurry across the seafloor. So it's a very, very developed muscle. Usually the rest of the insides is simply discarded.
Alton, it looks like the ice cream machine's been fired up in Iron Chef Morimoto's kitchen as well.
Ostrich egg and vanilla in Morimoto's ice cream, I understand. And there's plenty of ostrich egg to go around, and once you've cracked into it, you've got a lot of material to work with. You know, eggs are a prime ingredient in ice cream, so it makes complete sense that they would be both making ice cream. You know, I think that if we've learned anything in Kitchen Stadium is that people do like dessert, even judges. So serving dessert will be a good thing. Oh, Wolfgang Puck stopping to make a little French toast for himself. He's a busy man. He's hungry. He's probably, probably hasn't eaten today. So a little French toast for him. Morimoto doing a very, very fine cutting job with that sushi knife. If you get a chance to see it up close, you'll notice that knife is actually concave on one side, so there's less friction against the meat as he cuts. Beautiful sweeping motion that he uses. This is a real sushi chef in action. Wow, he's made a flower, a beautiful little flower out of that big eye tuna.
20 minutes to go.
Okay, so Sherry Yard is working with her potatoes. She's actually candied these. She soaked them in a simple syrup, which is really nothing more than sugar dissolved in water. She soaked them in that so that the potatoes would absorb some of it. Then she baked them across a rolling pin so that she would get this beautiful shape out of them. A very, very unique procedure. I've never seen that done before with potatoes, candied potatoes. I hope there's one of those left over so I can get to one of them. Morimoto is spending a great deal of time with fish, so I don't know exactly how he's going to really tie in the fish and the eggs, as in, really integrate the two of them together. I see that Wolfgang Puck is now handling some wonton skins, which are pre-made pasta sheets that are very, very thin. Looks like he's going to fry those. Probably for his soup, or his egg drop soup that we know that he's making over there. You definitely want to see what Sherry Yard's getting ready to do. This is extraordinarily hot sugar at this point, but she's cooling it down, stretching it. She's checking to see how it's stringing and threading out. She has added corn syrup, I think, to this, because usually when you cook sugar to this level, it breaks down molecularly, and it becomes almost impossible to form or to spin, as we say. But because she's added some sugar to it, some invert sugars in the form of corn syrup, she can. You can actually see the change as it starts to stretch and the way the light moves against it. This is not easy cooking, kids, and don't try it at home because this stuff is well in excess of 300 degrees. Look at this. Look at the shapes that she's making now. Gossamer threads that she's working in her hands. You would never, very rarely see somebody do this barehanded. That is incredibly uncomfortable to do. Morimoto is cutting his omelets into very, very thin strips. This is a very, very typical approach for omelets in Japanese cuisine, is essentially turning it into almost a hash. The masters continue to hash things out when Iron Chef America returns.
Chopped and awaiting a home.
Wolfgang Puck tasting his latest concoction. I'd love to see down into that pan to see what he's working in there.
Okay, here we have a little truffle sauce for our roulade. This one is finished. We're going to put it away. Where is the roulade?
Alton, as you can see, the mood is intense, but it's very comfortable and cool here. Wolfgang's team has already started to plate. Lee's working on that, and over on Chef Morimoto's side, they've begun plating as well, and it sounds like there'll be a dish of Kobe beef to be cooked at the table.
So they're actually going to do a tableside service on some of that beef. Fascinating. Over on Wolfgang's side, it looks like they're putting together a tasting plate, tasting platter, and it's really beautiful. They've turned one of the brown chicken eggs up on end, opened it up, and are going to serve down inside of that egg.
Can we ask what you're doing with the abalone? Will it be cooked? Will it be served raw?
Yeah, this is raw.
Yes, this will be raw. Well, good luck today.
You know, I've been watching the action over on Morimoto's side, and I certainly don't want to question a man with knife skills of that caliber, but I haven't seen a lot of egg over there. He made the noodles. His sous chefs have been working with him. Of course, they're working on the custard. Otherwise, it looks like a sushi bar over there. And that is sushi rice. That is definitely sushi rice going into that barrel. That bowl you see is actually a traditional sushi rice bowl, and now he's adding rice wine vinegar or mirin to that. Will be moved around inside that bowl so that it can cool off, and that actually does a lot to determine how the starch is going to crystallize inside that rice. Wakame seaweed and shark fin have come out and are going into the bottom of Morimoto's bowl. We know that shark fin is commonly used in their soups, not just for its flavor, but for its texture. It contains a lot of gelatin, and gelatin, of course, is the stuff that makes Jello jello-y.
Alton, this is the first smile I've seen from Sherry all day with the pulled sugar. I know, come on, are you happy about this?
I'm very happy.
Look at this.
That is so far. Don't, you never know. Never count your chickens before they're eggs before they're hatched.
I absolutely love watching Sherry work with that sugar. She's absolutely elegant in her movements. Look at this, taking it, literally pulling it off of the spoon, and that is not cool stuff. Let me tell you. The custard is being plated over on Morimoto's side, and it looks like they are plating that with some duck breast and some foie gras. They were very stealthy about that duck breast. I never saw it come out of the refrigerator. So Morimoto is marrying toro, or a form of tuna, with pizza dough. That'll be interesting. Some black truffles have come out over on Wolfgang Puck's side of the equation. He's coolly checking his gigantic and expensive Italian watch and seems comfortable with what he sees. He's only got about 7 minutes left in this competition, but seems cool as a cucumber. Over on Morimoto's side, we've got ice cream coming out. And that is the ostrich ice cream, well, not ostrich, of course, but ostrich egg ice cream coming out of the ice cream churn over on Team Morimoto's side of the kitchen. Beautiful platings being done over on Wolfgang Puck's side. You can see why his restaurants are so known for the beautiful food, or the food looking as good as it tastes. There's that ravioli, large ravioli, that looks like it's been plated up with some browned butter and herbs, and some pancetta perhaps on top of that. The lemon curd that Sherry made, she thinned it out with a little bit of milk, and she's using it as a sauce for those meringues. So it is a curd that she loosened up with some milk.
5 minutes.
Over on Morimoto's side, they've got a strange dilemma, which is that they can't get the rice to cool down fast enough. That sushi rice, they didn't take the time it was going to take to cool that down, and now they're having to scramble. Blowtorch is out over on Sherry Yard's side, and she's caramelizing at the top of her dish. She's literally she put sugar right on top of her curd and caramelized that. And that's something we usually see on a creme brulee or some other form of baked custard. She's doing it on a stirred custard. Very innovative.
No, I want to keep everything going.
Well, there is a lot of motion going on, and with only about a little under 3.5 minutes left to do the cooking today, that's certainly understandable. I have to say that I think things look a lot calmer over on Wolfgang Puck's side of the equation. Maybe doing all those Oscars and whatnot do get you into an organizational groove a little bit better. Over on Morimoto's side, I love the little whimsical bowl that they've made over there out of that ostrich shell sitting on that big spring. Whatever's going to go in there is going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so the spätzle that Chef Morimoto made is now being deep fried. Spätzle, of course, a German word, refers to a kind of class of freeform dumplings that are made by pouring a batter very slowly into either simmering water or into oil. It's a precursor of the famed funnel cake. All right, Morimoto is finishing up his soup, and it looks like that is also an egg drop soup. So we may actually have Battle of the Egg Drop Soup here today.
And now time is quickly running out. Chef Morimoto is making last additions to that super-sized serving of what is called chirashi sushi. That's the shredded egg there along with the rice and fish.
Yes! Shy.
That's one happy chef. I wish I knew what shy means. Morimoto's sous chefs have that frozen ostrich egg custard going into the shell receptacles. That's going to make a beautiful presentation. There's also some duck egg custard there and bluefin tuna topped with quail egg and caviar. Team Puck's meringues are being finished off with a bang, and I think those are soft-boiled eggs over on Morimoto's side.
30 seconds to go.
And now Morimoto's sous chef is laying out what appears to be a traditional sukiyaki, or what Americans refer to as sukiyaki. That's a setup with Kobe beef, and the soft-cooked egg will figure into this. It looks like the judges will be doing a little cooking at the judging table.
Seconds to go.
and some fresh wasabi being grated by Chef Morimoto. We don't get to see that in its fresh form very often. It's usually in a powder paste form.
Okay. I think we did it. All right. Good job, guys. All right.
Wow, what a competition here in Kitchen Stadium. Beautiful work by two masters.
You have something left for me?
We anxiously and hungrily await the final verdict in the battle of Morimoto and Puck when Iron Chef America returns. Here in Kitchen Stadium, the secret ingredient, eggs. The possibilities were endless, and the endless talents of these chefs proved that. They've made everything from omelets to custards to meringues. We've got rules around here when it comes to the judging, and to give us the breakdown on how that works, let's go up to Kevin Brosh.
Up to a total of 20 points can be awarded to each of the Iron Chef's offerings. 10 of those points come from overall taste profile. Up to 5 points can be awarded for plating and the design of the food on the plate. And finally, 5 points for originality in the use of today's special ingredient, battle egg.
As our chairman is wont to declare, our ultimate competition is with ourselves. So to give us a closer look at the inner game of Iron Chef, let's go up to the man himself, the chairman.
Chef Morimoto,
Yes.
when the secret ingredient was revealed, what was your first reaction?
Ostrich egg? Big.
Big.
I've never seen anything that big very much.
Thank you very much.
You're very thank you.
May we begin with the meal?
Oh, sure. This is my first course. Bluefin, tuna, and belly, and porcini mushrooms, and some quail eggs, and caviar, with just a little flying fish egg.
I think it's great, except that the pizza's a little tough, so it's a little hard to eat that way. But the toro, the bluefin belly that's on the bottom, is the most beautiful I've ever seen.
Well, I'm very impressed that you got 3 eggs in one dish. I do agree with Jeffrey that the dough is hard.
I don't know why you call it a pizza. It's more like a tortilla.
A tortilla.
Yeah.
Like pizza, more like.
I'm a pizza guy, you know.
Okay, next I use a duck egg, and then duck egg custard. I used breast meat, duck breast. I made some soup for the egg custard, sauteed the foie gras, and I put a special sauce on the top.
Yeah, this is the fanciest egg drop soup I've ever had.
Don't you think that the stuff on top, that the liquid on top is just delicious?
I kind of like it.
You kind of like it?
Kind of?
I smelled good, and I love custard, but it was the meat inside that I didn't like. Listen, if I was an easy critic, I wouldn't be here.
This is a Japanese spring soup we call wakatake soup.
Spring soup.
Yes. It has seaweed, fresh seaweed, and bamboo shoots.
Right.
And an egg.
And so what egg is this?
It's a chicken egg.
Well, it's somewhat eggy, in that it's a yellow, and it looks like egg.
This I really like. This I enjoy.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes. That's what I'm a soup person. I like soup.
We call this chirashi sushi. This is regular tuna, red meat, and this is a jackfish from Japan. This is a red snapper, then scallop and abalone.
So now what kind of egg is this?
This is also a chicken
This
egg.
is also chicken egg, okay.
I love the rice and egg. I mean, the omelet is just delicious.
So how do you feel about sashimi now, Vincent?
You know, it's tough for me to eat this.
Have you tried it a little bit?
Yeah, I have a thing about something not being cooked.
So this is the Kobe beef shabu shabu sukiyaki. Usually in Japan, sukiyaki beef is served with a raw egg. But the people who live here sometimes don't like to eat raw egg. That's why I poach the egg.
It's prepared for a king here. Okay, now what do? You flip it over? Oh, I see.
So far, all 5 courses, to me, have been a little bit sweet, which I like.
This is delicious.
Thank you.
I love this whole way of eating.
I wish I had some more.
So next would be ice cream made from ostrich egg yolk.
So that's why you were hacksawing the egg.
Yes.
And what's this?
So that's spätzles.
So we could eat this?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. To use the egg as even the dish itself to hold the food is really great. And it was very fun to watch you hack it.
It has a custard flavor.
Chef Morimoto, yes.
Beautiful.
Thank you for your incredible creations. Thank you very much. Chef Puck, can you tell us what your theme was?
I thought the egg has to be the main ingredient and the rest to go with it. Now, Obviously, we had sturgeon eggs, we had salmon eggs, we had so many chicken egg, quail egg, duck egg. So we used all these eggs to present one dish as the main ingredient should be the egg.
Thank you, Chef Buck.
Thank you,
May we
sir.
now begin?
Okay. This is ham and egg. It's a little different. It's a soft-boiled egg yolk on the bottom with some horseradish cream on top and a little maple syrup. Now we eat it with egg bread and goat cheese, a little sandwich next to it. So I would start with that and then finish with the tuna and the sturgeon eggs, which is caviar.
Everything here is extremely delicious, but there's also another achievement, or at least so far, which I'm afraid we may not have seen with Morimoto's, and that is that he used eggs almost as an accessory, as a decoration, or as, you know, 1/8 of the dish.
I noticed the salty of the ham, the sweet that was in the rest of the egg, the softness of the egg balanced with the crispy of the bread with the goat cheese. I mean, that's exactly what I experienced.
Another little amuse-bouche with eggs. In a small little bowl, we have a quail egg with scallops and black truffles. Next, we have salmon with salmon roe, a little dill cream and crisp potatoes. And the soup at the end is a little egg drop soup, sweet and sour egg drop soup.
What do you have around the scallops and the...
We made a little yuzu vinaigrette, yuzu and olive oil. And the quail egg, and there's a little Maya lemon still there.
Well, this is definitely an experience for me. This is a great experience because it's the first time I've ever had this.
And now this is an open-faced ravioli with quail egg and leeks inside with a little bit of prosciutto and a little pancetta.
Oh, wow.
Smells so good.
And the filling is just a fondue of leeks with a little mascarpone and a little cream in it. The quail egg starts to ooze out. You see it here a little bit?
Yeah,
in the
this is how it is, the quail egg here?
Yeah, it's a quail egg ravioli. And the pasta is an egg pasta, only egg yolk and all-purpose flour.
May I say that of everything that we've had to eat so far today, this is my favorite dish.
Now this one is really for the smell. Truffles, go close.
Black truffle.
Black truffle.
Oh, okay.
Now the truffles are not egg, but that's a pancake with duck eggs.
Oh, wow.
I feel like it's like a mushrooms type taste.
You're absolutely right. There's porcini mushrooms in the inside.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
You've used the secret ingredient as the main ingredient in each course, and also in different ways. Like, you know, we actually have had yolk. This is cooked like a crepe. You've made pasta. You've really utilized the versatility of the egg, I think.
This is a lemon floating island. Here we have everything made out of eggs except the red sauce, which is a red wine huckleberry sauce. But you have a little crème anglaise on the side.
Yeah.
You have the floating island. You have lemon custard and you have lemon ice cream. Because the meringue is very sweet, we made the ice cream less sweet to have a little contrast with it.
Tart.
You have the tartness to it, yeah.
Lemon is very refreshing.
Yeah,
also.
I love lemon.
Well, I'd say this is a near perfect dessert. And it's also a way of using eggs in the dessert in how many ways? 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
So it's a perfect home run according to the rules. And
the flavor has to be...
I think it's quite original, and not the flavor so much, because the flavor is not uncommon.
It's what it is. You know, you have
Yes.
lemon, you get lemon. We caramelize the lemon like we would have a caramelized lemon tart. So we put the lemon curd on top and caramelize it with a torch.
I think I noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just delicious.
Great.
Chef Buck,
Yes, sir.
we thank you for your magnificent meal.
Thank you.
The chefs have spoken, and now the time has come for our judges to have their say about whose cuisine reigns supreme when Iron Chef America returns. Welcome back to Kitchen Stadium. I'm Alton Brown. Today, in Battle Egg, Iron Chefs Puck and Morimoto have demonstrated that culinary genius sometimes starts with the simplest of ingredients. The judges have sampled their extraordinary egg-based creations, and they have voted. Let's just take a moment to recap how the judging works. A competitor can earn up to 20 points, and this is how it breaks down. 10 of those points are just for flavor. And hey, that makes sense, right? 10 points for flavor. 5 points is for the plating design, because of course we do eat with our eyes before we eat with our mouths. And then there are 5 points set aside just for originality. And from what I've seen here today, I think everybody's going to get all of those points. Now, to give us the decision of the judges, I give you
the chairman.
Today, two champions met on our glorious kitchen battlefield. They have both made us proud. And so now I am prepared to hand down our judges' verdict as we all discover, once again, whose cuisine reigns supreme. In two categories, plating design and originality, the Iron Chefs tied with 13 points each. Today, taste has told the tale. With 21 points, Iron Chef Morimoto. With 26 points, Iron Chef Puck has prevailed. Congratulations, Iron Chef Puck.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
With a tie in 2 out of 3 categories, the judges were almost equally impressed with our 2 Iron Chefs. For Chef Morimoto, the judges seemed to feel that the flavor of egg may have been slightly overshadowed by the abundance of fresh seafood used in his preparation. For Morimoto, there is no disgrace in defeat. Wolfgang Puck, on his very first trip to Kitchen Stadium, was able to wow the judges with an exciting and varied menu. Today, he is king of Kitchen Stadium. On behalf of the chairman, the Iron Chefs, my colleague Kevin Brosh, and all the staff here at Kitchen Stadium, I'm Alton Brown, bidding you a good night.